After watching this video, you will legitimately have understood what I consider to be Enigma of the markets. There is a system behind the markets, and there is a method to how the algorithm runs. And I believe it's OHLC plus the power of 3. Now, this video is going to be in 2 parts. You're watching part 1 currently because there is way too much that I'll be going into. And this video is not scripted. So be patient and watch through the entire thing if you legitimately want to learn. If you're lazy and you expect for there to be edits, if you expect this video to be entertaining, then don't watch this video. It's not entertaining. This is made to change your life. This is made to turn you into a demonic trader, to turn you into one of the best traders that I know. I've mentored students who've literally made 6 digits. I know what I'm talking about. And I don't want to just give you entertainment. I want to give you knowledge. I want to give you things that will change your life. No more talking. If you want to be privately mentored by me, join my Discord. Other than that, let's get started. Now, what is the OHLC? Let's first understand what a candle is. If I can somehow change the color of this, that's fine. Let's first understand what a candle is. A candle is the way that we view the markets and the way that price is printed. The price of any pair, any crypto coin, any market, I don't care what market you're on, it's ran by candles. I hope you can read that because I barely can. But essentially, if you open any software that helps you view the markets, like TradingView, you're viewing price based on candles. There's a lot of people who don't know what they're doing. There's a lot of mentors who don't know what they're doing. They use Heiken-Ashi, they use all this fancy stuff. For example, if you go on TradingView, there's Baseline, there's Renko, there's Ecology. If you see anyone use those, you should immediately know that they don't know what they're doing because the market is ran through candles. It is not ran through fancy bullshit. Now, every candle has 4 parts. There are 4 parts to every candle, and I'm going to write down on here actually, so you can see it on the screen, everything that I'm talking about, so it's easier for you to take notes. A candle, when it's a little bit smaller, a candle is made up of 4 parts: the open, the low, the high, the close. The low or the high can be interchanged by when they're created. What does that mean? Let's imagine that we have a green bullish candle, and let's imagine that this here is a green bullish candle, and I'm going to draw this out because I'm an artist. Let's imagine this is a green bullish candle. We like green, right? A green bullish candle opens here. This is low here. It's the high, and it closes. Essentially, a bullish candle is formed when the opening price is lower than the closing price. So we open, we then trade lower, we then trade higher, and then we close. If the opening price is $10 and the closing price is $20, then it's a green candle. Because in the time frame that this candle was created, we went higher. Price went higher. So in this case, our open would be here. Our close would be here. Well, I'm going to put the close here so you don't get confused. We first set the low and then we set the high. And the opposite is true for a bearish candle. Now, a bearish candle, we first open and then we go higher. So our close price is lower than our opening price. It looks something like this. We open, we trade higher, we then trade lower, and then we close. Open, close, low, high. If our opening price was $20, our closing price is $10, then in this time frame of this candle, we've traded lower. Therefore, it is red. Now, why is it important that you understand this? And I don't care if you're an experienced trader, if you're a professional, because this is literally how every single time frame runs. Before we get deeper into this, I want to mention something. Time frames are fractal. Every single candle on every single time frame is created by the same logic and moves the same way. Now, I'm going to give you a little exercise in a moment, and I want you to guess the time frames. I'll put two charts in front of you right here. Take a look at these charts and try to guess the time frame. I'm going to give you 2 seconds. Or you can just pause the video, try to guess, and have your answers in your mind. Other YouTubers are going to be like, comment your answers below. You're not going to actually comment it. But if you do comment them, then it's going to help me grow the channel. So probably do comment them. Anyway, the one at the top is Solana on the daily time frame, and the one at the lower is NASDAQ on 5 minutes. You cannot tell the difference because it's not the time frame that matters. It's the creation of the candles. The way that the candles are created is the same, no matter what time frame you are on. Even if you're on 1 second, every single candle is created using the same logic. Now, you might be like, okay, 19, but what is the logic behind the creation of the candles? I've taught you so far what OHLC is and how every single candle is opened and closed, and there has to be a high and there has to be a low. Now, what is the logic that creates these candles? I'm going to get rid of these two because we don't need them anymore. Candles are created through the power of 3. Now, what is the power of 3? Remember how a candle forms, right? So we have an open, a high, a low, or close. Now, every single part of the candle is formed through power of 3. What is the power of 3? You may ask. Let me actually make this one smaller here. The power of 3 is the idea that price first has to accumulate, manipulate to take both sides, and then distribute lower. So we have 3 phases in price. The first one is accumulation. The second one is manipulation. That's not a fucking M. This is an M. And then we have our distribution. And every single candle runs by the idea of power of 3. We first accumulate. So when a candle opens, we don't do much, right? It's literally the open. It's a straight line, and it's always shown. What the fuck is showing? It's shown by a straight line. So every single drawing of a candle that you look at, like this, the opening price is literally the accumulation. And you can tell because it's not moving much. It's not meant to move much. So first God, can I speak today? We acquire liquidity. So we just bounce around a little bit. We don't do much. And then we have manipulation, which is the first part of the candle. Well, it's the second part. But the reason I'm calling it the first is because depending on the direction that we go, we're either setting the high or the low end. So we set the high or low of the candle in the manipulation phase of the PO3. I'm going to make this a little smaller so you can take notes. It's in the corner right there. And then if we set the high in the manipulation phase, we set the low in the distribution phase. Opposite applies. So in this case, we have set the high. Where's the pen? We've set the high in the manipulation phase, and then we distribute lower because look, we've opened, went higher. Now we have to go lower, right? That's how a candle is formed. That is how a candle is formed. Then we distribute to the other side, and we set in the low, and then the close. Now the close is kind of called the fourth quarter. It's called the X phase. So we have accumulation, manipulation, distribution, and then we have X. But for now, don't worry about it. This video, as I said, is going to be in 2 parts. This video is going to be in 2 parts, and in the second part, we're going very deep. In the first one, I'm kind of just giving you an introduction as to why everything happens. Now, you might be like, okay, 19, but why do we have to manipulate before we distribute? Now, this is where power tree kind of clicks, because we understand that the market is algorithmic, right? True. Before it nukes lower or flies higher, it first has to offer either discount prices or premium prices for buyers or sellers to get in the market. This is the logic that markets run by. For example, if we want to continue bearish, we will first trade above a high, offer premium prices, and sweep liquidity on that high before we continue lower and go bearish. This is the idea of the power tree. This is why we have an accumulation phase and then we have a manipulation phase. The whole idea of manipulation is to offer either premium or discount prices, and it's the kill traders. What do I mean by kill traders? Because the manipulation phase usually looks like a fake out, correct? So if we open and we're going higher, we know it's a manipulation, but most traders don't. Most traders think that, okay, market go high, and what happens? They get stopped out, and then markets distribute slower. Now you might be like, okay, 19, but why does liquidity actually matter to the markets? Liquidity matters because they want to free up the amount of stocks or shares market makers want to buy. If a bank, random example, don't attack me for this. There's a lot of debate on who actually runs the markets. I don't give a fuck. I just call it the algorithm. But just to make an example, and just to make it as simple for you, I'm gonna use a bank as the example for this one. Also, I'm gonna bring my mic closer to my mouth. Wants to buy 10,000 lots, let's say shares of NASDAQ, but only 5,000 are free. They're first going to manipulate price to where stop losses are to free up those 5,000 shares. Then they enter with the freed up shares, and market moves to where it wants to. Now, another thing you have to understand, banks or big buyers don't run the market. If you were to buy, let's say, a fucking huge number, like 100 million lot sizes of NASDAQ, or even Bitcoin, the market will not move. All of what I just talked about runs in the background by an algorithm that is literally programmed to do this automatically. I was supposed to talk about power tree and OHLC, but I just gave you a big lesson on liquidity, because a lot of people, a lot of mentors, a lot of these dog fuck YouTubers get liquidity wrong. Soon I'm going to be publicly attacking every single YouTuber. There's a lot of fucking scumbags that really don't know what they're talking about, especially one of them that I'm not going to name yet. Okay, I'm just going to give it time, give it a year or two, build everything up, and then I'm going to be opening up. Because trust me, there's a lot of people in the shadows like me who have been trading alone and have made good money from this and are fully profitable. You don't need to, you don't, whatever. Let's just keep going. This is the whole idea what I just talked about is the whole idea behind manipulation, distribution, and also accumulation. Now, how do we identify this in price, you may ask? And when does this happen? I'm going to first start with the daily candle. Okay, we've been going for 15 minutes. I want to talk about this, and then we can jump into price, look at a few examples, and then for part 2, we're going to dive even deeper in this. So let's understand the daily candle. This is a daily candle. My A looks like a fucking cock. There we go. Daily candle. We know that in a day, let me type this too so you can also take notes. In a day, we have 3 trading sessions. Asia, London, New York. Asia is usually taught off as accumulation. London is taught off as manipulation. And New York, distribution. Now, there are a lot of ifs when it comes to this, because the PO3 can be interchanged with its parts, but that's for part 2. Not going to say more. For example, a lot of times you'll see Asia distribute and then London accumulates. What do you do then? I'll break down all of those in part 2. Right now, we're just going over the basics. Right now, we get the basics out, and then we go over those. Now, Asia, London, New York, this is pretty much the first thing that you learn when you get into SMC or ICT concepts. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, let's go hop onto charts and look at what the daily candle looks like in the terms of power tree and OHLC, and how we kind of predicted a lot of price movements just by understanding how the market's run. And also, I want to zoom out here if you want to take a screenshot or anything, because there's a lot. This could literally change your life. All right, here we are on the charts, and I have an indicator on currently that's showing the power tree, and it's showing me the sessions in a trading day. So we have Asia, we have London, and we have New York. This is the indicator on my settings if anybody wants to copy my settings. But essentially, let's first understand when a daily candle opens. A daily candle opens at 18. So right here is the opening of the daily candle, and it closes next day at 18. So now let's draw out the OHLC up to this candle, right? If we open, we go higher in London, we go back lower in New York, and then higher, and then we close. Now, if we simplify this, what does this look like? This looks like we opened, we set a low end, we set a high end, we set a close. This is what the price action looked like, and this is what the candle looked like. So we had an open, and we had another, blah, blah, blah. Here we can see Asia with their accumulation, London manipulated higher, and then distributed below Asia. But this distribution is also just another manipulation, because this was a move lower to sweep this low. And later on, when it comes to power tree, I have some private teachings. And if you are a part of my private teachings, you know exactly why this is a distribution, but also manipulation. You know exactly. And then right after we sweep this low, we take low of the day, we distribute higher, and then we go back lower to set a close. Let's go back and draw this again for the previous day right here. So we opened, we went higher. Or actually, I'm going to draw the price action first, and then I'm going to draw the OHLC. So we open, we accumulate, we manipulate this side, then we accumulate again, we manipulate higher, distributes lower, retrace, lower, and then we close. This is what the price action looks like. Well, what does the OHLC look like? It looks like we opened, we went higher, we went lower, and then we closed. Literally, the whole movement of the market can be simplified into this. And you might be like, okay, 19, we kind of understand this. How do we use this in our trading, and how do we take trades based off of this? That's for the next video. Next video, I'm going to be going deeper into this and teaching even some macro timings that you can use to apply this to your trading. And we're also going to be back testing everything that I'm saying here. So stay tuned for that. It's only in a few days. But for now, let's just keep going. Let's keep repeating this and understand. Now, how does this help us, you may ask? I can give you a very simple answer. We can understand that every time price is going higher, and we have to set a low end, then we have to set a low or set a high. So for instance here, when London moved lower and took Asia lows, you could have understood that, okay, on the 4-hour candle or even a daily candle, we just set a low end, we have not set a high. There's this high here, there's all these highs. We have to take those. So you could have took a long right there. Now here we come higher, and you could have been like, okay, we opened, we went higher. There's a possibility that we go lower again to set a low. Now let's go back here and analyze this candle. So I want to get the magnet off. So we open here, we go higher, lower here, and then we close. Now here, the candle looks kind of shitty. This was a pretty shitty trading day. If you were on my Discord, I also called this out, and I said it's very shitty, but it was pretty obvious that we are eventually going to reach for Asia highs and London highs. But how does this candle look? It looks something like this. We open, we set a high end, we set a low end, and we set a close. Now, yes, I know the close looks weird because what the fuck are we doing this? But you have to understand that not every single trading day is clean. But if you understood OHLC, you would know that we have been accumulating in Asia and also London, correct? Accumulation. Then we nuke lower. You would have known that, okay, we have not set a high in because we just accumulated them and moved lower, and now we have to set a high in. And that's exactly what happens. So open, low, high, close. Back here, let's do another daily candle and look at how the daily candle looks. Right here. So we open right here, we accumulate, then we manipulate below Asia, distribute, close. This is what the daily candle looks like, and I'm going to make it a little smaller so it's more understood. This is what the price action looks like. And if I were to draw the OHLC, OHLC looks like this. Here we opened, we're below opening price, we're below this low, we're inside of possibly a higher time frame. Could be a range side here. And London sweeps this low right here, and then this place is higher. This could have been a signal to you that, okay, we opened, we set a low one, and we could possibly distribute higher to set a high end. Now, again, let's do another one right here. This is pretty shitty. This is a pretty shitty day because as soon as we opened, we moved lower. And we had CME shutdown around here, I believe. Yeah, we had a CME shutdown, so NASDAQ was pretty much shut down. And price action was just messed up. And literally the price action looks like this. We open, and then it's like, yeah, this one is not clean. This is a day that I did not trade as well. If you still applied PO3, you could have caught a long here, which we did on the Discord, because we understood that we have an SMT down here and we have equal highs up here. And yeah, it's really that simple. Now go back into your charts and study this. Here it is if you want to study it even more with what I've drawn. But just by understanding that the daily candle, again, this can be applied for every single time frame, but for this specific example, we use the daily candle. You can find very high probability trades. In fact, this is how I find bias. I don't go into higher time frame for bias. I just use the understanding of the daily candles open, low, high, close. I hope this video helped you. If you want to be privately mentored by me, join my Discord. It's a cool Discord. We share a lot of gay porn there as well. So go join.